Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Good Old Wrasslin, episode number 15. It's been a while since we did one of these, so I might be a little rusty, but today we are going to be, once again, doing some fantasy booking for the rest of the superstars we haven't done yet, and we are also going to be covering some wrestling news that's been occurring over the last couple of months, because there's been a lot of news. Good Lord, on both AEW and WWE side. Some good, some bad, some in the middle. I mean, just a lot of shit's been going down. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And joining me tonight is one of my co-hosts, Shadowhunter.
Hello, party people. How you doing?
Yeah, everyone's pretty today. They're all dressing up today. I feel underdressed. I mean, they have like that Seth Rollins drip on. Like, you guys are just too fancy for my taste.
Yeah.
But you all look good, though.
Yeah.
Deshaun will be joining us later, and man, I guess we can just start off with how we were, fantasy booking, because I think we're gonna save the news towards the end, because the fantasy booking probably isn't gonna take us very long, so I figure, why not start it off with that? And of course, we got this fun little wheel. Now, before we start though, Shadow, has any of your bookings changed due to the fact that now after SummerSlam's happened and now that it's been a bit, do you think that your bookings have changed quite considerably?
No, I've just left it as booking of the night after SummerSlam till WrestleMania. I'm not acknowledging any of the stuff that's going on right now in my universe.
Perfect. It's a good way to think. I think mine's changed exponentially, but some of them, they really haven't changed. So, we're just going to have to see. As you can see, the 5 wrestlers left we got Liv Morgan, John Morrison with the drip stick, SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch, United States Champion Damian Priest, and the Universal Champion, head of the table, Tribal Chief, Thanos, mixed with God himself, Roman Reigns.
No one could deny that.
Roman Reigns is just fucking awesome. I hope Roman Reigns is first, but again, sometimes you gotta save the best for last. Oh, okay.
Damian Priest.
United States Champion Damian Priest. Not a bad way. Not a bad way to start.
Okay.
You know what, Shadow? You have the board.
Not.
You may go first.
Oh, kind of. Let me try and find this. I'm gonna be honest, but Damian Priest and John Morrison storylines are very intertwined, so I'm just gonna knock both of them out at once, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright, so the night after SummerSlam, there would be a number 1 contenders match for the US Championship for Damian Priest, and I would have it to be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus John Morrison. I would have John Morrison to win the match, the number 1 contenders match, and then at Extreme Rules, Morrison would defeat Priest after a distraction by The Miz with the dripstick. Morrison would then Famous and beat him, and then we'll start to see glimpses of Miz getting jealous of Morrison's success. After Morrison does defeat Priest again, I think it's at Saudi Arabia, I think this is. Miz, I put that Miz will sneak attack Morrison after the match with his cool crushing finale, getting out of his wheelchair. Then Miz will face Morrison and Priest the week after. And then in that match, John Morrison would hit his Starship Pain on Priest when he's down, But as soon as Morrison starts to climb onto him for a pin, Miz picks him up, skull crusher finale, but pins Damian Priest, and he wins. So Miz will be US champion right now, going into Survivor Series. He will face Shinsuke Nakamura at Survivor Series and will lose to Nakamura due to a Kinshasa from Shinsuke. The next night, John Morrison and Miz will be in the ring having a war of words. Morrison will demand a rematch from The Miz. He accepts, but only if he can pass a test that he has put to Morrison. And Morrison turns around after Miz points behind him. Damian Priest is stood there, and Priest clobbers Morrison in the back. That we figured out. Priest has turned heel, and he's now himself with The Miz to make sure Morrison never gets a shot at the US Championship again. That same night, Morrison will defeat Damian Priest with a roll-up, but before Morrison can go back up the ramp, Damian Priest will get a chair, whack it in his back, and The Miz will join him and beat the living hell out of him. The Miz will deliver a skull-crushing finale to John Morrison on the steel part of the ramp, and then Morrison will face Miz in a TLC match. Miz will defeat Morrison in that match due to Priest grabbing John Morrison in a powerbomb position from the top of the ladder and throwing him to the outside onto another ladder and crashing him through it. The next night, we'll have John Morrison limp into the ring, like severely injured, kayfabe, obviously. The Miz to come out. Morrison will Royal Rumble, and The Miz will agree. The match, Morrison will win after taking out Priest earlier in the night by just absolutely beating the hell out of him. Steel chairs, light tubes, and then throwing him through a window as well. Morrison will have an open challenge the next night, and Edge will have. So we'll have John Morrison versus Edge the night after Raw for the US Championship. So after Morrison defeats Edge, The Miz will pop up on the Titantron and ask John Morrison for a match at Fastlane. John Morrison will agree, obviously. The night of Fastlane, we'll see The Miz lie down under a table and a big gash on the side of his head. It's revealed that Damian Priest will step in for The Miz. Priest defeats John Morrison. And it's revealed weeks before WrestleMania that Damian Priest is the one that severely injured The Miz before the match against John Morrison. And then a triple threat match will be made at Mania. Damian Priest will win the match, turn face again, and move on to face Drew McIntyre in a feud for the US Championship afterwards.
All right, not bad. I like the usage of the U.S. title here. I like that you were able to transition it from, Miz, from Damian to Miz to John, and then, Damian gets it back. Like, I like the combination of both stories. I think they both worked in a very cohesive way. So very nicely done.
Thank you very much.
All right, so here's my booking for
your turn. Floor is yours.
Damian Priest. So I'm gonna kind of change my booking up a little bit. I like the idea that Damian Priest is doing an open challenge for the U.S. title because, again, you want to make this title feel important. So I'll say with Damian Priest, I would say start the night after SummerSlam with him in the open challenge. I like how he was able to face, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. That match was great. Of course, Damian retains. He pins Drew, so he gets a big win. Then over the next couple of weeks, he faces, The Miz, John Morrison. He faces, at one point, I think Jeff Hardy. Guys you're not really using at the moment. Guys give him screen time, but also make him feel very important. This leads into the feud with Sheamus for Extreme Rules because, we kind of have to have the feud for Damian Priest as well. Like, Sheamus is just upset because, like, I want a rematch, fella. Why don't we have a fight? And Damian's like, well, I'll take on all comers. And so Damian Priest and him are kind of having, like, this back and forth. Like, Sheamus is attacking Damian Priest from behind. Damian gets his revenge next week doing something. And I would say Sheamus... Damian Priest for Extreme Rules. Of course, Damian Priest retains. I don't know if I would have a stipulation. Maybe like a Extreme Rules match or something where Damian Priest retains, and then over the next couple of weeks again, you have Damian Priest do the Open Challenge. I would have Damian Priest face guys like Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo, like again guys that you're not particularly using at that moment. So Damian Priest for the Saudi Arabia show, which I believe is Crown Jewel, if I'm not mistaken, but they might change it. I don't know. So for Crown Jewel, I would have Damian Priest face Mansoor because, again, it's like a Saudi thing. And it would be kind of like a big deal because technically he's undefeated. Mansoor is undefeated over there, and Damian Priest doing the Open Challenge. Damian Priest defeats Mansoor, so that kind of leads to some shit, because again, I would rather have Damian Priest go over strong here. Not that I hate Mansoor, but I think it would make sense for Mansoor to lose in like a big match like this and have it be convincing. So Damian Priest retains Survivor Series. He goes on to face. I think I said my Intercontinental Champion going into Survivor Series was Shinsuke. So it would be Shinsuke versus Damian Priest. This match is kind of difficult because really both guys shouldn't lose, but again, because it's Survivor Series, one of them's got to lose. So I'd say probably Damian. I would say because you want to make Damian Priest a big star, I would have him beat Shinsuke here. Even though, granted, Shinsuke, I would really, regardless, I think both could use the win, but I'd say Damian makes sense because you want to build up Damian Priest to an eventual main eventer. He's not going to be a big main eventer yet, but he's going to get there. So Damian Priest is going – so he gets the big win over Nakamura. He's already got a win over Sheamus and Drew. This is when it transitions to a feud with AJ Styles because, like my AJ Styles booking, Damian Priest, by this point, he's got a bunch of wins under his belt as U.S. champion. And I believe the December pay-per-view is TLC, or I'll just call it the December pay-per-view. The December pay-per-view, Priest takes on Styles. Priest beats Styles, but, but the shenanigans occur, and of course, maybe Styles has his foot under the rope, but, he retains, almost, beats him up after the match. Styles is pissed off. So that's what leads into the matchup at Royal Rumble where Styles is like, listen, I want a rematch for the U.S. title because I got screwed. And Damian Priest is like, well, all right, because you beat me up. And then at Royal Rumble, that is when Damian Priest is actually going to lose the U.S. title to AJ Styles because it's like it's not really a shameful thing to have Damian drop the belt here because, again, you gave him a lengthy run. You gave him a bunch of title defenses. You gave him some big wins. It's not going to hurt him, if that makes sense. So Damian Priest loses the title here at Elimination Chamber. I don't know if I would do the rubber match or just have a chamber match. I would probably maybe just do a rubber match at the Elimination Chamber, but I don't know. But regardless, AJ retains wherever you want to do it. I'm hearing a bit of an echo on your end. And I think Damian Priest's next feud, so now he's basically out of the U.S. title picture. This is where we start to elevate Priest into more of a main event role. And this is where this is kind of difficult because I don't know who I would have Damian Priest face for the next couple months going to Mania because he's got to have a big match. I would have Priest take on, for like a throwaway feud for like the first couple, for like a few weeks till Fastlane, I would have him face Karrion Kross. because again, giving Cross like a kind of like a big feud against Priest, and honestly, judging by the way Cross has been basically booked over the last few weeks that we've seen him, I would just give the win to Priest because again, if you're gonna Priest is gonna eventually do more than I think Cross is going to do anyway. So I'd say Priest beats Cross, and then this is where it leads into WrestleMania. And of course, for Mania, you kind of have to have like this big match for Damian Priest. I mean, there's a few ways you could go about it. One, you can have Priest, go for the U.S. title again, and because like I said, my previous booking, I think Keith Lee versus AJ Styles, which. I mean, you could have Damian Priest in the triple threat. You could put him in really any type of match, but I think this is where it ends up kind of getting a little weird because I don't know who you could have Priest face and have it be like a massive win. Like maybe Seth Rollins, but I don't remember what I had Seth do it. No, Seth faced Finn at Mania, I think. So that I'd maybe have Edge face Damian Priest at Mania, like maybe have like Edge come out and say like Damian Priest is like a reject Edge or something, and because I think the basis of the story should be Priest wants to get to that level, but he really doesn't know how. So he challenges Edge, and Edge is like, "All right, I'll face you," and then it gets personal. And I would have Damian Priest go over Edge because. Granted, I know it's like, well, Edge always loses, but Edge at this point of his career does not need to win that much. I think Edge, at this point should be putting over more talent, but giving Edge a few wins here and there would be great, but I think Priest is going to benefit from it in the long run. So then after WrestleMania, if you want him to challenge for the WWE Championship, you can definitely do that because Priest now looks like not necessarily a total beast, but he's definitely like main event material. So that's kind of how I would book Damian Priest because that's really the basis of it is just elevating Priest to that level. Which, if you book him like that, Priest is could be a future world champion. So that's how I would book Damian Priest.
Very interesting. Using people like Karrion Kross, AJ, and Edge. I never thought about using Kross, to be honest. I always thought that he should just go straight back down to NXT. I don't feel like he's had enough time to go on to main roster yet, so I didn't really include him.
At this point, I don't even think NXT is the place to be anyway.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, great stories there. It's just
trust me, we'll get into that later because my God,
my life, yeah,
my heart hurts just thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right, next round, I'm actually gonna shuffle this because
go to entries and then shuffle. There you
go. You know what? I'm going to shuffle it 4 times because...
Choose your character.
Who is the next one? Oh, shit.
Let me get my book out. I've got 4 pages on this, man.
Well, I mean... Now, hold on. Before we start, I gotta put up a picture. I mean, you have to put up a picture when it comes to Roman Reigns. I mean, you can't... Like...
What picture is this exactly?
Nothing that we say or do is going to do this man justice.
You never know.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying regardless. But, I mean, it's like fan art, but I didn't do this, by the way. Somebody else did, but...
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Man, like it really looks really cool, and it's basically the general consensus of what Roman Reigns is right now.
Super Saiyan a million.
he's like fucking God at this point. Like, this is Roman basically right now.
Fucking hell.
And you know what? We're gonna keep this overlay up while we're talking about Roman Reigns, because there's like.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so I feel like I kind of predicted this, but after SummerSlam, Roman Reigns would head into a feud with Balor short term. He would defeat Balor very convincingly. I never expected them to bring back the Demon character. I didn't in this. Because the main factor that caused Balor to lose is that Reigns, Jimmy, and Jay brutally attacked Balor the SmackDown before Extreme Rules. As we know, SmackDown is only 2 days before pay-per-view, so it's going to have a bigger factor into it. So after this, we would lead into Survivor Series. Reigns and Lashley would trade a lot of words, and it would get very heated. Reigns kind of using a similar argument that he did to Drew McIntyre last year, saying that he's always going to be a number 2 to the Tribal Chief. And Bobby Lashley won't take that to heart. And at one point, Lashley will spear Reigns through the barricade after they get separated. Lashley will get out of the crowd, spearing through the barricade before Survivor Series. Reigns will beat Bobby Lashley. And after the match, Reigns will pick up a mic. And obviously, as he said at Money in the Bank, he will say, now the whole world can finally acknowledge me. And as soon as he finishes his sentence, The Rock's theme tune plays. Rock comes out. The crowd is absolutely buzzing. Like they've never seen anything like this except from CM Punk returned to AEW. Roman and Rock do a handshake and then they hug. Like, hey, my brother. But Rock doesn't let go of Reigns' hand. Instead, he pulls him back in, hooks him up, and gets him with a rock bottom in the middle of the ring. Reigns goes on a rant about Dwayne the SmackDown after. The Rock will come up on a Titantron and he will decimate Roman on the mic. Because whilst Roman may be good on the mic, no one, and I repeat, no one can touch the Great One on the mic. And we see that on full display this SmackDown. Balor and Rollins will have a number 1 contenders match at TLC. Not Balor and Reigns, Balor and Rollins. Seth Rollins will win this. And Seth Rollins will Seth Rollins will lose to Roman Reigns. And then, right, let me see here at Royal Rumble. Yeah. So the night after, the SmackDown after Royal Rumble, Rock will finally come out to confront Reigns in person about the rock bottom after Reigns has been talking absolute shit about him for the last couple of weeks. And in the middle of the promo, Seth Rollins will come out absolutely fuming that The Rock, who has been away for so long, thinks he has the nerve to come back and demand a title match and get it on the spot just because he is the biggest Hollywood star in the world. So, we're going to get 2 dream matches on the road to WrestleMania because at Elimination Chamber, we are going to see Seth Rollins face off against The Rock, and the winner will face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. The Rock defeats Seth Rollins after Seth Rollins tried to go for a stomp, but Rock catched him. He gets out of the way, catches him with a rock bottom. 1, 2, 3. Reigns and Dwayne will build up to WrestleMania with hyped and top-tier video packages with Paul Heyman narrating over them about the Samoan tribal family history. And then Roman Reigns added a secret stipulation in the match against for Rock versus Rollins. No matter who wins, Roman Reigns gets to pick the stipulation. And Roman Reigns wants to put The Rock in as much pain as possible that he has picked 3 stages of hell. Match 1 is a last man standing match. Match 2 is a steel cage match. And match 3 is an I Quit match. Rock sees this as his advantage because he has been through more wars than Roman Reigns has been through diapers. So, Reigns will win match 1 after spearing Rock through a barricade, and then as soon as he spears him through, picks him up and does a triple powerbomb through a table with Jimmy and Jey Uso. Match 2, The Rock will defeat Roman after Roman tries to climb out of the silent steel cage, but The Rock enough for him to secure the second victory. And then finally, Roman will make Rock say, "I quit." And Roman will stand at the top of the ramp with the rest of the family, this Roman tribe, forced to acknowledge Roman Reigns and forcing the world to acknowledge Roman Reigns as your tribal chief.
God damn. That's pretty fucking epic.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as a joke, I was gonna be like, look, the only real thing you gotta do with Roman Reigns is make him Universal Champion forever. Don't let him drop this title ever. But I guess I gotta go into more detail. So Roman, of course, now Roman's booking is gonna actually change because of what's going on right now. Roman Reigns, he's feuding with Balor, which leads to Demon Balor versus Reigns at Extreme Rules. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Austin, why would you have the Demon lose to Roman Reigns? Because, I mean, granted, it's like you could have Finn win, but at the same time, it's what would the point of Finn winning be if you're just going to drop the belt right back to Roman? Granted, it doesn't have to be the Demon, but it would make Roman much more of a credible threat. Even though he's already just as much of a threat right now. So Roman beats the Demon, and then, of course, Brock Lesnar comes out at the end of the night, and he F5s Roman because, again, Roman still beats with Brock. And then that leads into the Saudi show where Roman is going to face Brock, where, again, the basic story of the match is, again, who is Paul Heyman going to side with? Like, that's really all the story has to be. Like, you get it, and it would make, and the match would be much better too because now the sides are different. Roman is a heel, Brock is the babyface. The sides are changed, and now the match is going to be much more intriguing because it's also on SmackDown, which SmackDown is the better show. So the basics of the feud is that Paul is torn between Brock and Roman. Like, Brock he's been the advocate of for the last maybe 20 or so years. Like, he's basically been Brock's advocate. But then when Roman came along, he basically brought Paul Heyman back to the island of relevancy. So Roman and Brock are kind of like, and Paul at first sides with Brock because, again, maybe Roman's like, I don't need you anymore, oos. Like, he basically tells Paul Heyman to suck it, basically. And then we get to the Saudi show where Paul Heyman swerves everybody, turns on Brock, leading to Roman hitting a spear, pinning Brock Lesnar, and Roman retains the title. Paul Heyman is still with the Tribal Chief, which leads it to Survivor Series with Roman Reigns and new WWE Champion Big E, if that's where they're going with. Because as much as I would like to see Reigns versus Bobby, I'd also like, because really you could have Roman face anybody, and at Survivor Series, and the match would be great. Like Biggie, Bobby, like any of those guys would make sense. But judging by what they've been building up towards, I feel like Biggie would make sense, even though Bobby would be a great choice anyway. Roman Reigns wins regardless of who you're going to book as the WWE champion. And then that's what leads into the December pay-per-view where Roman Reigns will face Seth Rollins because Seth's main goal at this point is to be the Universal Champion. Like, he basically nearly ended Edge's career because he wanted to get to that spot. And Seth's at this point is like, look, I'm done asking for a title match. I'm going to take it. And then maybe you could even play on, like, their previous history in the Shield and, like, maybe, like, their previous history in general where, when it really counted, Roman could never really beat Seth. Because if you think about it, when it came to, like, really important stuff, like, yeah, Roman would beat Seth on a Raw, but when it came to, like, the big important match, Roman can't get the job done against Seth. But now, times have changed. We have the Messiah, we have the Messiah, we have the Tribal Chief. And then it leads into the December pay-per-view where Roman beats Seth due to Uso shenanigans. Actually, no, not Uso shenanigans, but Edge comes back and Seth's it's like Edge has seen it, like Rollins has seen a ghost. Because Edge is pissed off at Seth for basically nearly ending his career. So he screws Seth out of the one thing he wants, and that's the Universal Championship. Which this actually leads into a triple threat match at the Royal Rumble where it'll be Roman Reigns, Edge, Seth Rollins, where Edge and Rollins both want a Universal title opportunity, because again, Edge feels like he was screwed out of it by Seth. Seth feels like he got screwed out of it by Edge, and Roman's like, I'll just take you all on, Oos. And then Roman Reigns, again, wins the triple threat match. And actually, at the end of the night, The Rock returns and wins the Royal Rumble. And that's what starts to lead into the build-up for WrestleMania, where Rock and Roman are kind of like, they're not like going back and forth yet. Like, you could tell, like, Roman, like, they're still kind of like buddies but at the same time, there's still a bit of conflict there. And of course, Elimination Chamber, we have the Chamber match. It'll be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus Edge versus somebody. But Roman would defend it inside the Chamber. Sami Zayn. Why not? And then Roman, of course, wins the Chamber match. Rock actually ends up choosing at the end of the night, or after that match, where The Rock says, I am going to challenge you for the Universal title. And then at Fastlane, we get the contract signing where now it's starting to heat up, where, Rock and Roman are kind of trading barbs with one another. And again, kind of like what Paul Heyman was, with the Brock and Roman story, this is where the Usos are going to come in, and, like, this is where the conflict starts, because Rock is going to start saying, like, look, Roman's only using you for his own success. And so you have, Roman being like, no, that's not true. I've done everything. Like, you guys wouldn't even be tag team champs right now if it wasn't for me. So now it's like, it's getting personal, and, like, then Rock hits a rock bottom on Roman, and, the Usos don't help Roman because, again, they're like, they don't know what they want to do. And so, of course, Roman gets pissed off and he ends up spearing Rock the following, SmackDown. And then, of course, some more personal stuff happens, which leads into WrestleMania between Roman Reigns and The Rock. And, of course, the main event, Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship against The Rock. And the Usos actually side with Roman, and once again, Roman Reigns is the big dog. He's the Tribal Chief. He's the main event. And Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, is going to be the Universal Champion going into WrestleMania 40. Because Roman Reigns is that damn good.
Very cool, mate. Very fucking cool.
Thank you. Like, Roman has an infinity gauntlet, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Well, he should, actually. Just an actual one.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Imagine just the SmackDown for SummerSlam. You just see a golden glove like he has now. You see him put his hand in it, it's like, because WWE's going to shit. It's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
The twist should be that Roman Reigns gains control of the company.
Yeah.
And then Roman's first act of power is to put all the titles on him.
Gives Paul Heyman the WWE Championship.
He's like, Paul, hold this for me. He gives the women's championship. He gives both women's titles to the Usos. He's like, here, you deserve it.
I'd give it to Naomi.
True. Which they might be doing that pretty soon, though. I mean, she might have to acknowledge the tribal chief soon. So, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, Paul Heyman did make some comments about that.
Which that'll be pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
We got some chats here. We got Nicholas in the house. What's up, Nicholas? Vince McMahon should step down. I mean, I think what he really should be doing is taking AEW as a threat.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if judging by the rumors going on about Raw right now, yeah, Vince is pretty, worried if he's doing all this big stuff right now.
Yeah. I feel like AEW is better than WWE right now.
Yeah. Nicholas says, Jacob Fatu will crush Roman Reigns.
No.
Yeah, no. If Brock Lesnar or the Demon can't beat Roman Reigns, nobody can beat Roman Reigns.
Actually, the only thing that can beat Roman Reigns is a drug test. Ooh!
Well, I mean, that was never proven.
Well.
We got Kavari in the chat. What's up, Kavari? Nicholas says, a reminder, Kevin Owens' contract is expiring next year.
I know about this. He isn't re-signing.
I don't think he is. Unless WWE does something to actually, be like, hey, if you stay with us, we'll give you the world title. I mean, I don't think Kevin's resigning. I think he probably will go to AEW, more than likely.
Wait. Kevin Steen to AEW confirmed.
I can't wait for the announcement. Terror Rising, AEW confirmed. Triple H is just going to flat out leave and just join AEW.
Most likely.
But you know what, though? Triple H would actually fit right in with AEW.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. Did you hear about what happened to him?
Yeah, I heard that he had, I think it was a heart surgery. Or...
He had a cardiac event. It was due to genetic issues, in his family.
Yeah, I heard about it. Thank God he's okay.
Yeah, man. You'd be losing one of the great minds of wrestling if he went now.
Well,
He'll probably only... Yeah. That would have...
been geez, too soon.
Yeah.
And they say wrestling isn't contributing to entertainment. Wrong. We got John Cena and Dwayne Johnson, baby.
You forgot about Batista.
And Batista. And Stone Cold.
Yeah.
And The Miz.
Randy
Orton. Basically, everybody's been in a movie at this point.
Yeah.
Edge.
Yeah.
He's been quite in a few things.
Yeah. Lana has as well. She and Edge were in a show together. Yeah. Meet the Goldbergs, I think it was.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Alright, let's shuffle this 3 times.
Choose your character.
Who will be the next one to be booked? And Johnny Morrison. Well, I mean, I think you already did John Morrison, so I mean...
Yeah. Floor's yours.
Yeah, with John Morrison, This one's actually was one of the more difficult ones that I had to do because I genuinely, it's like with John Morrison, it's very hard to book him right now because I can't book him to win a title because he, to me, at this point he's just too silly and way too goofy for me to really buy him as a champion. So,
like Xavier Woods.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Like the only reason why I could really buy Xavier Woods even like a mid-card champion is like because it's not like he could like back up what he's saying and like because he wins a ton of times, but John Morrison has not won a like anything. Like he's not won a match in a while. Like so the basic of the story is just getting John Morrison back into like that mid-card, like close to the main event, but he's going to be more on the high tier level. The story begins after SummerSlam. Have John Morrison just be a freaking jobber because again, and then this is when The Miz cuts a scathing promo either on Raw Talk, Raw, wherever you want to do it. But I would say that just have The Miz say, look, we're not getting anywhere because, again, look at what we're doing. Like, this is stupid, essentially. And then, of course, John Morrison's going to go forward with it. And, of course, The Miz is like, Jesus Christ, really? So The Miz and John are kind of on the outs. And for the next, John Morrison's not going to be on pay-per-view. And then finally The Miz is like, look, we weren't even on pay-per-view. Like, you need to start taking things seriously. I brought you back to make you relevant. Granted, it's been fun what we've been doing, but clearly you're not taking my help. You're clearly taking my help for granted. I can't really help you anymore. And so this kind of leads into more like a split, sort of. Like, John Morrison, I would say, like, he finally gets, like, of course, Royal Rumble. Like, I'm going to skip everything because literally there's really not much to say about what happens. Like, he just does nothing. Royal Rumble comes along. The Miz eliminates John Morrison to basically prove a point. And then finally, John Morrison, gets a win over somebody like maybe, I don't know, Riddick Moss or somebody. Like, somebody that, like, is a jobber or, like, is not, like, lower card. Like, John Morrison finally gets a win, and The Miz comes in to celebrate, but then he hits him with a skull-crushing finale because he's like, well, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you basically beat a guy that's not that important. So, of course, The Miz is like, and then he cuts scathing promo on John Morrison about how he's a failure and a loser. And, of course, John Morrison's, again, on pay-per-views, and then we get to WrestleMania, which is The Miz versus John Morrison, and John Morrison gets the win over The Miz. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, I know, granted, it's like, it was kind of like me, like, giving you, like, a very rushed booking of John Morrison, but in whole honesty, there's not a lot to really do. It's, granted, you could give him a title, but at the same time, it's like, I would rather have John Morrison get a big win over The Miz, and then with that win, he could slowly go through it. So,
yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe have John Morrison back at NXT, have him go to NXT could be decent, but the new NXT could be pretty terrible. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really all I got to say about John Morrison because there's really not much to say or do.
Yeah.
And now we're at the final two, which is our female wrestlers.
Choose your character. Okay.
Liv Morgan. All right, so then after that, we are booking Becky Lynch. So, Shadow, the floor is yours.
I'm going to be honest, this is the one that I struggled with most because you can go with so many things for Liv Morgan here. So, on the SmackDown after SummerSlam, I would have Morgan call out Belair. Belair would accept the challenge. They would face the Extreme Rules. Morgan would lose after Sonya Deville would come out and distract her. Morgan and Sonya Deville kind of have a verbal feud. So Deville can't compete in the ring, and they would keep going. Deville would keep costing Morgan chances at Bianca Belair and other talent. But the week prior to the Royal Rumble, Liv Morgan and Sonya Deville decide a agreement to an unsanctioned match. Morgan would beat Sonya Deville in this match, and then she would be entered into the Royal Rumble. She would come out at number 21 and would win the Royal Rumble match. She would then challenge Becky Lynch to a match at WrestleMania. These two would have intense back and forths on the microphone and with their physical strengths. So WrestleMania will come about, and Lynch will have a kayfabe injury after Morgan gets a crutch and whacks it into her ribs. And the main event of night one will be Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. Liv Morgan will defeat Becky pretty convincingly, and she'll become the new Raw Women's Champion and would become the new future of the WWE Women's Division.
Very nice. Very nice. I liked the Sonya Deville stuff. I liked the Sonya Deville stuff. I like that she faced and beat Becky Lynch in the end. I thought that was cool, and having her win the Rumble. I think that that was nicely done.
Yeah, I couldn't think of much for Liv because there isn't much out there at the moment for her. Because I don't want her to be fighting Carmella and Zelina Vega every week, you know?
Exactly. So the way I would book Liv is actually, this is something that I was thinking of before the whole, Naomi turning heel thing, but I wanted Naomi and Liv to be like a heel tag team. Like, they are attacking people left and right because they believe that they should be given more opportunities. And this is kind of going to factor in kind of like a shoot work thing where they're kind of like, look, we're underappreciated. We keep getting screwed over. We keep getting passed over because other women like Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Sasha, because again, they're not, the chosen ones. Like, they want to be, at the top of, the women's division. And of course, this leads into Extreme Rules where they get a women's tag team title match against Natalya and Tamina, which they actually win, which gives Liv her first title in WWE whilst giving Naomi another championship. They're basically the champions for the next couple of months. They beat, Tamina and Natalya. They defeat all the women's tag teams because I really don't know who's in a tag team right now because literally they're just throwing wrestlers, left and right at this freaking tag division to see what will stick. So, they're the tag champs, and then, leading the Royal Rumble, they're in the Rumble match. Liv Morgan actually wins the Rumble match, last eliminating Naomi, which, of course, Naomi's a little bit salty after this because, again, now it's like Liv Morgan is, finally starting to climb up the mountain. And, just before she's going to reveal who she's going to face at WrestleMania, Naomi comes out and it's like, congratulations. I want you to share that spot with me. But then this is where Liv and Naomi are kind of going to start fighting a little bit because, of course, Liv can't really do that because it's, her moment to shine. And, of course, Naomi at this point, it's she's starting to, now you're starting to see them turn on each other, which Liv, I think, will be the face here because, again, Naomi's kind of going batshit insane. So if they lose the tag titles to, I guess, Shotzi and Tegan, I guess. So, they lose the belts. Of course, Naomi turns on Liv, which leads to the next pay-per-view, Fastlane, because I think they lose the belts at Chamber. So at Fastlane, Naomi versus Liv. Liv Morgan gets the win, which then, which prior to this, she reveals that she's going to face the Raw Women's Champion, who will more than likely be Charlotte, because of course it is. And of course, Liv Morgan's talking about how she's the underdog and how she needs to beat Charlotte to be the best of the division. Charlotte, of course, is just like, you think, huh? So then that leads to the Charlotte versus Liv Morgan at WrestleMania, where Liv Morgan gets her moment and she becomes Raw Women's Champion, beating Charlotte. And I'd say probably her next feud after Mania would probably be against Sasha Banks, because or Asuka or somebody. They need to freaking facelift that Raw Women's division, and I think Liv Morgan would be the best way to do it. So that would be how I would book Liv Morgan.
Very nice, man. Very, very nice. Yeah, I like the stuff with Naomi, and obviously Raw Women's Champion. You've gone with that as well. Yeah, I agree. SmackDown Women's Champion should, honestly, I feel like it should still be Bianca. Obviously, I feel like Becky should have gone to Raw instead of SmackDown, because SmackDown's already too packed. But know, what can you do? Yeah.
I mean, it's funny we're not even the freaking the main roster wrestlers want to be on Raw.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, now our last booking is actually going to be Becky Lynch.
Okay.
And Shadow, the floor is yours.
Okay. So, the night after SummerSlam, Charlotte will be out celebrating a title win, being all cocky. And then she says, "Not one woman that I have ever faced will get to where I am today." So she says that. We hear Becky Lynch's music. She'll come out. Becky will have a very large pop. And then she'll say, "The man is home and the man wants his title back." Smacks Charlotte and walks out the ring with a cocky smile. At Extreme Rules, we will get Becky versus Charlotte. Becky will win after doing an exploder suplex through a ladder in the corner. Right after, Charlotte will come out and demand a rematch. Nikki ASH will also come out and want a rematch for the women's title. Becky will let them fight, and the winner will face her at Crown Jewel. Nikki will win, and they will face off each other. Nikki will win via DQ after Charlotte interferes and hits Nikki with a chair. Nikki will face off against Becky 2 days before Survivor Series. Well, actually, 6 days before Survivor Series. Becky will win fair and square, as Charlotte is banned from the arena. Obviously, Becky will defeat Bianca, because it is what it is. At TLC, it'll be a triple threat TLC match. Becky will win and move on from Charlotte and Nikki. And the night after, Becky will ask for a new challenger, and we will see the main roster debut of former NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez. These will face off at the Royal Rumble, and Becky will drop the title to Raquel Gonzalez. Becky will then challenge Raquel to another match at Elimination Chamber in an Elimination Chamber match. Becky Lynch, Raquel, Charlotte, ASH, Rhea Ripley, and Shayna Baszler. Becky will win, and then she'll face Liv Morgan at WrestleMania, and she will eventually lose to Liv Morgan due to a kayfabe injury of her ribs, and after that, she'll walk off into sunset and go raise a child.
Very, very nice. I kind of like that you added Becky's retirement essentially to your booking.
Yep. I don't think there's much more for her to do, essentially. She's pretty much done everything, and plus she's got a child at home, so why not let her prioritise that and let her be more of a part-time person? like a John Cena or something. Like when he was around in 2017, just every couple of months show up for a big payday and then bounce.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So my booking is going to focus more on recent stuff because that kind of changed. So yes, I'm actually gonna change some. I'm actually gonna change the way she returned because if I were to book her return, I would not have booked it the way fucking what happened at SummerSlam. So let's say you want Becky to come back, and challenge the SmackDown Women's title. I still think that's pretty fucking stupid, but let's say, okay, instead of doing the match, just flat out just have Becky come out, beat up Carmella, and say, look, I'm next in line. She then throws the microphone in Bianca's face, and then she walks out of the ring. That's literally all you had to do. Because clearly if Becky was not ready to be in the ring, she should not be winning a championship against Bianca Belair in a quick span of time. So, of course, they're kind of like, well, Becky, you were on Raw. It's like, yeah, you did lose your Raw Women's title, but to be fair, that was on Raw. This is SmackDown. You have to earn it. So, instead of Bianca being in that Fatal 4-Way, Becky's in that Fatal 4-Way, and she's the number one contender. Bianca, they have their contract signing where I'd say Becky's more like a tweener at this point. Like, because her main character was never really supposed to be a heel. She was supposed to be a tweener where she's like, look, I'll do whatever the hell I want to do. And she's like, look, I respect you, Bianca, for being able to carry, the women's division in both locker rooms. But let's be fair. The one wrestler that's basically bigger than you is me. And you cannot beat me. You can't lace up my boots. That's what leads into Extreme Rules. And yes, Becky beats Bianca. I know a lot of people go back, why would you have Bianca lose? Because, again, it's like there's really no one left for Bianca to face at this point. Like, Bianca beat Bayley, she's beat Sasha, and she has beaten Carmella, even though that's not necessarily a big deal. But there's really not much for, really Bianca to do. Except hold the title in pretty much a dead division as just like Raw's is. So, and again, you have to capitalize on Becky's return while you can. And so Becky wins the title from Bianca, which leads to the Survivor Series where Charlotte's got to face Becky, and Becky beats Charlotte because this is going to factor into everything later. Bianca's going to have a rematch at the December pay-per-view where, again, Becky's going to retain, which is going to eventually, so now Bianca's not completely phased out, but she's not necessarily going to be a big factor at this point, which then leads into the return of Sasha Banks, because Sasha was out for unknown reasons, which then Bianca's like, well, you know what, I want a rematch because, again, against Sasha, because Sasha couldn't face me because she's a coward. Which then, of course, Becky being the match is like, I'll take you both on. I'm the man. Which leads to the Royal Rumble, where Becky retains against Bianca and Sasha. And then the following pay-per-view, she faces Sasha Banks because, again, why not? You do it while you're there. Becky, of course, they can have some promos where, again, like, Sasha's like, I carry this brand while you, we're at home, basically, raising a child, whereas Becky would say, kind of be like, granted, yeah, I did, but at the same time, you're an overhyped piece of garbage, essentially. So Becky beats Sasha, and of course, and then I'd say at Fastlane, I would do the throwaway match against Carmella here, because it's not like that big of a pay-per-view. But after that match, Becky could say there's no one in this locker room that can face me. And that's when we get the return of Bayley. And again, Bayley just stares at her. She stares at the title. And then that's kind of how that segment ends. Which that leads into Bayley versus Becky at WrestleMania. Where, again, Bayley, who is the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, versus Becky Lynch, who is the first SmackDown Women's Champion. both of them colliding at WrestleMania. Both have something to prove. And Bayley defeats Becky Lynch. And I would have Bayley be the face, more of a face here, because she's the one that's making the comeback. She's the one that's, that wants to get this belt back. Becky at this point, kind of like what Shadow said, I don't know what else you could do with her. Like, I guess you could bring her over to Raw, maybe have Becky feud with Asuka again, but honestly, there's not a lot left you could really get out of her. I guess you could put her. I really don't know what else you do with her at this point, because you had Becky face off against everybody at this point. Because again, after this leads into Bayley versus Naomi for the SmackDown Women's title, where Naomi goes over, because again, you kind of have to continue booking what the heel Naomi would do. But it's like Becky at this point. You could just, if you booked her the way I booked her, I think Becky would probably be better off the way I booked her, because the way she came back was stupid. I'm sorry. You threw away Bianca Belair's title run just to bring back Becky Lynch. That was stupid. And they made her a heel, which was even more stupid. So that's really all I got to say about Becky Lynch.
Fair enough, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't really disagree with you on any of that, to be quite honest.
Good?
Yeah. Very different to how I did it, I'll be honest with you, but I guess that's the fun of fantasy booking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are going to get into the chat here. Nicholas said, Austin, WWE ruined Jeff Hardy.
We know.
Yeah.
We really
they did.
know.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Having him wrestle in the freaking 24/7 division. Really?
Yeah, man.
That was dumb. And Nicholas said, I can't stand that idiot Nick Khan.
He must be doing something right. He's got... WWE have earned the most money that they've ever had since Nick Khan has been there, so...
True.
So he's doing something right. Maybe not in our eyes, but...
Not how I would do it, but I guess he's doing something right.
Yeah. He got rid of Bray Wyatt, Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott. Let's see, who else? I think there's meant to be more NXT releases, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they said that a lot. They said that I think the next batch of NXT releases are actually going to feature some wrestlers that's been on the roster for a while.
And I really hope it's not Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano.
But I don't really know how they would do that, because Johnny Gargano's in a storyline right now.
Well, technically they all are. My guess, the Fatal 4-Way this Tuesday is going to be for the actual NXT Championship.
It is.
And I really hope Ciampa wins.
Because really, this match is basically to determine who the fuck's leaving and who's not, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I want Ciampa to win, so I can guarantee he's staying.
Because I know LA Knight's definitely not leaving, because LA Knight just got signed.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne's questionable at the moment, because we don't really know what's going on with him. Because there are rumors he's out, and then there's other things that's telling me he's not. But and Ciampa, I really don't want to see Ciampa going, but at the same time, it's like he's really done nothing in the last year.
Yeah. That's why I want to see him be NXT champion again, man. So he does something interesting.
Yeah, the moment would be great, but because I gotta look realistically here. I think LA Knight's probably gonna win because
I really hope not. He does. Out of all of them, he's the one I don't want to win the title.
But the thing is, he's like, because from what I've been hearing, Vince is basically going to have more of a hand in NXT than he did before.
Him and
so
Bruce Pritchard.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if, because LA Knight's basically more like what Vince sees in a wrestler at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I think it would LA Knight's more than likely going to win. Even though I would like to see Kyle O'Reilly or Ciampa win. I mean, even Dunn, I wouldn't be. But Dunn at this point is more than likely he's leaving. So
yeah.
Unless, I mean, at this point, it's just NXT's just fucked. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, NXT is basically like I don't know how much it's really gonna change though. Like that's the thing that I don't know because I don't know if it's just gonna be presentation. I don't know if it's also gonna be like the way NXT is gonna be pretty much organized. I don't know because like I'm hearing rumors that they want to make NXT back into like a developmental thing.
Yeah.
Which, man, that's gonna suck.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering why we're talking about the Fatal 4-Way this Tuesday and why it's interesting, I feel like this video would help.
Yeah, I would probably have the volume though a little bit down, or let's mute it up a little bit.
Yep.
Upon my recent return, my goals were very simple. I sought to ensure the respect and integrity due to both NXT and championship. I sought to ensure that everybody understood the needs of one individual. Never out to come before. Today I find myself having to stand on. Recently, WWE Medical informed me that due to certain injuries, they would like to have me step away from the ring for a brief, but still indeterminate amount of time. I realize that this week we are on the cusp of a new NXT. We are on the brink of a new era in our history. And I realize that era deserves fighting champions. That's why it makes it very difficult. Effective immediately, I relinquished the NXT championship. Best of luck to those who will vie for it. Must be seriously going to people at the end. I will be along for it.
Which, you know, I gotta say, I mean, I'm not disputing that he's hurt. Don't you think it's a little coincidental that we're like a few days before, you know, the revamp and now Samoa Joe's relinquishing the title?
Yeah, it is a bit of coincidence, and honestly, I didn't want to see Joe leave WWE. Now I do. Because imagine the matches he could have at AEW. Samoa Joe vs Adam Cole, Samoa Joe vs Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe vs Kenny Omega, Samoa Joe versus fucking CM Punk, John Moxley, Darby Allin, Nick Gage, MJF, Chris Jericho.
But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Samoa Joe gets released again.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I think he might.
I feel like that's just a saving grace for him, though.
It is. Like, at this point, like, anybody who gets released, because I know everyone's going to complain, because, like, it kind of annoys me with some wrestling fans, because then they complain about, oh, well, why did WWE do this? But, you know, they might, like, again, I'm not saying WWE's smart with some of these releases, because let me tell you, when you're releasing guys like Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, like, main event players, like, that's a little questionable. But at the same time, some of those wrestlers probably weren't even doing anything good to begin with, and that they're going to be given an opportunity to go to a place that they're going to have more freedom, more like say in what they want to do. Like it's kind of like a win. It's kind of like a win. It's a win-lose scenario when you think about it because it's a loss when it comes to WWE's standpoint, but it's going to be a win for the wrestlers.
And also for the wrestling community because they'll finally see this person's potential realized.
Exactly. Because, like, look at, like, guys like Rusev. Like, when he was in WWE, like, he was great at the beginning, but as soon as, like, he started to falter, he did nothing.
I mean, he was a fucking legend. I mean, he had sex with Lana in the tank.
Oh, I mean, definitely. He's a fucking S-level tier for that.
Yeah.
But now you see what he's doing in AEW. Like, he's having a lengthy run with, like, a mid-card title. Like, he's a beast right now, and that's how he should have been booked.
Yeah. I know we're going to get on to this next time, but I could really see Miro versus CM Punk if they wanted to do it.
Yes. But it looks like CM Punk's actually going into a feud with Team Taz at the moment.
I don't like that. Honestly, if I had to choose who CM Punk would go into a feud with next, I know we're talking about this next time, but I'm just wanting to get it out there. After Darby Allin, there's only one person who's as crazy as him that I can think of. And I think you know him as well. By the name of John Moxley.
See, that would be a good match. Honestly, my idea would have been for Punk to face Sting.
But Sting's old. I don't feel like that would really,
Because I seen a guy on Twitter make a joke about how it should be Punk versus Sting at Bound for Glory for the Impact World Championship.
No.
I mean, but man, I mean,
yeah.
it's like when it comes to no, you can go ahead.
In my ideal world, it makes the most sense for Punk to go back after Moxley because you most likely remember when Dean Ambrose was in the Shield. Him and CM Punk got into a lot of shit with each other. And they never really got to settle the last score. So, what can you do?
I mean, honestly, there's like so much you can do with Punk that honestly, if you book him right, in my eyes, like I would like to see Punk be world champion at least once.
Punk versus MJF. Imagine the promos.
Oh my god, dude! Can I just say I love MJF for the fact that he does not break kayfabe at all.
Yeah, because the thing is, I kind of consider that on the levels of Undertaker. Like the way that he don't break kayfabe. Just even in interviews, man. Just being an absolute fucking cunt.
But that's great, though.
Yeah, I know. And he's, what? Let me have a look. 26, 27?
Something like that.
He's 25.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Okay, I guess it's all back over for me, I guess.
Yeah. We're just talking about MJF and CM Punk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, there is some other news I want to talk about. I don't know if we covered this yet, but 2K22 got a gameplay trailer, only to get kind of delayed till March.
And I gotta have about that. I need to take your time on the game.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Then we have 2K20.
Yeah.
We all have to that game.
Yeah. And apparently GM mode will be in 2K22.
God, I hope so. But wait, like with what roster? There's gonna be like nobody.
Yeah. I mean, it'll make universe mode a lot easier.
hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
they need to do it right.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen, but did you guys watch the SmackDown on an MSG last Friday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good show.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
We finally get to hear Brock Lesnar talk.
Yeah.
Or where he,
It was so great to hear Paul Heyman go, Brock Lesnar! For one last time, you know?
Like, honestly, I'm actually digging Brock's new look.
So it makes him look so sick. And then you have, along with it, Pat McAfee going like the alpha male of our species.
Brock Lesnar. I think, and then of course Demon coming back, which, like, let's be honest, like the Demon Balor like coming back is just being done to make Roman look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all knew that Roman was going to beat Finn Balor at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
And then Finn Balor is going to be all elite.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I just realized that the pay-per-view called Extreme Rules and all the match they have now do not got any stipulation match.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably be changed in a bit.
Yeah. For some reason, I have a sneaky feeling that Finn Balor, because he said he'd come back to John Cena another time for costing him his Universal title shot. I feel like Finn Balor's going to face Cena at WrestleMania.
It's possible. But it also depends on what's going on, though.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think there's some other things because I really don't know what else to talk about other than I think
Big
we
E
got
going to
everything.
cash in.
Oh, Big E, yes. So Big E on Twitter basically said he was going to cash in tonight. Do you guys think it's just a swerve to see if the ratings are going to boost, or do you guys think Big E's going to do it?
I give a 50-50 on that. I don't know if he will cash in or not.
Well,
but if you do cash in, that will be a great part. I would be
yeah, I just saw on YouTube WWE release a video. I don't know if I can show it because you might get copyrighted, so I'll just send you the link in private chat so you can see it yourself.
always saw the video.
Let's have a watch of this, shall we?
Oh, is it Bob Biggie announcing his intent to cash in Money in the Bank?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just watching it.
I don't know if it's like a great idea, but that all kind of leads me to believe, like, why would you do it on a like? I understand why they're doing it, but it just doesn't make sense to do it on a random Raw.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really work, but I mean, but it'd be great anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you guys wanna. I think we're just gonna wrap it up here. So
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody in the chat, Nicholas, Kavari. Thanks for showing up. I want to thank my co-hosts, Shadowhunter and Deshaun. We're gonna go around the panel, let everybody tell them where they can find themselves at. We'll start with Deshaun.
Y'all could find me on my YouTube channel, D-Show Wiggin. I am not I-Show Game D-Show Wiggin anymore. I changed my name back to D-Show Wiggin because it's more easy to say. Because somehow people can't announce I-Show Game, but yeah, for different reason. You also could find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. I won't be making a video for the next 2 weeks because my computer messed up. All my stuff messed up right now on my phone. You did not get myself, but I get me another computer, so I won't see no YouTube for the next 2 weeks. But besides that, y'all can find me on YouTube.
All right. Good stuff. Shadow Hunter, where can they find you at?
You can find me on my YouTube channel at Shadow Hunter, and you can find me on my Twitter at PF Shadow Hunter.
Very, very nice. You can just find me. At this point, I'm not really going too far. Like, just subscribe to Shadow Hunter and Deshaun. Like, come on, let's get them up to where they need to be. Sub to my channel. Just subscribe to everywhere I've been. Subscribe to Zach, Ninjoid, Sour, Dylan, like everybody who I stream with. So, just follow me on Twitter. That's really all I got to say. So, I want to thank everybody for watching. This is the Osnator signing out.
Deuces.
Later, guys.
Anti-life is found, Assad, and we will stop it.